Hello everyone, today we have gathered here to discuss the insights about the low-code platforms and how could your business apply the low-code practices in real life and infiltrate them into your workflows. But before we proceed, let me tell a couple of words about our project. The project Deep Tech Hub, Rusland and Poland is co-financed by Berlin Senate, Department for Economics, Energy and Public Enterprises. And the main goal of Deep Tech Hub project is to incorporate Berlin IT companies into the emerging digital economies of Poland and Russia, and of course, vice versa. Without that, let me introduce the best person in SIBB to talk about low code. Welcome, Jens Moericke, Manager Cooperative Projects, SIBB.
Hello everybody. I'm really happy to welcome so many people, so many speakers all around the globe. I was asked to say some initial words, why we are here and where we want to go and why we are focused on low code. I mean, if some of you probably don't know, SIBB is actually a regional association for digital business and economics. It means we had in our past the focus really on local networking, local connection of real business and IT. So, but of course we are growing. We are over 25 years now old, our association, and we did international projects like we had now with Nikolai and Magdalena. And of all our activities, we have 13 circles, we call it forum, with specific topics. We got one topic what turns out to be so present, so interesting, so future-wise, that we even put new manpower on it, our own focus. It all starts 2 years ago when we just had a nice afternoon with, I think, a handful of people. We had a forum, it called Low-Code Solutions. Just a handful of people, not even 20, were all together, and we said, okay, let's do it again. Where we are now, we said, okay, just a single night or a single event is not enough. We need half a day, and the support, the success was immediately so high that we, out of the blue, right from the start, we built a congress in less than 4 months with 20 solution providers and around few over 200 participants on this congress. That gives us fire, that gives us energy, that gives us, to say, the local topic is in Berlin important, but over our own borders, yeah, far further, and we need to run this topic and keep the balls in the air. And then what happened? Zack, it just happened that comes Corona, and we were just stopped and broken. We couldn't do the second low-code day, the low-code congress, where we meet all in person, where we had one full day with drinks at night on our topic. That is why we gather together. I think I have a little time. That we gather together now here and hopefully in future too. We try to do present events in future, of course. We're still planning it for 2022, and smaller virtual events like today. But what is our main goal or our main task? Bring the people together and combine all our energies. Yeah, from ELMA, from SAP, from Thinkwise, from many other companies, not just in Berlin, but all around, to have, let's call it a counterpart or a counterpole to big overseen companies. They have maybe more, way more energy and of course market budget to stay here together, have a combined PR, public relation strategy, social media strategy. Let's do roadshows if you want. So our next step will be to found another, let's call it association, and Netzwerk, low-code Netzwerk, where we will be all together, and that is actually my speech here, yeah? to keep the balls rolling, or to keep the topic in the air, that we bring it to the right decision makers, to the guys who sign the checks in the end. My favorite sentence on the Congress last time was, and I keep repeating it all and all over again, because we are all here not competitors, right? The market is just so huge. They told me, I mean, I repeat the words of the solution providers that were there, that they not even met on the market on usual days, right? One said, just imagine a marble plate, let's say 2 or 3 inches high, and you just, that's a market, right? And then you just take a needle and scratch it once over. That is a market that's actually entered right now. So we are just on the start, and many people can benefit from this solution, from low code, no code. And I actually read something about non-code. I'm surprised that will be that you had no code at all. And yeah, keep your or us as a SIBB, Nikolai, Magdalena, me, and many other employees here. Yeah, keep them by your side, and we will be all together one strong community. And yeah, I can just invite you to be part of it in future days. So I more or less hit it, I think. If you have questions, of course, then come to me. I mean, I was invited here because I'm the duty oldest in this topic, but of course you can work together with Nikolai and everybody here in this forum as well. So I will be on site for the networking part, of course, too. So far from my side. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jens, thank you a lot for your insights. And yeah, you mentioned that that's time to scratch. And I think that's what we're going to do today, to also blow some dust from this topic of low code. And I hope that our event will bring a lot of insights to the attendance today. You also mentioned about Magdalena. I actually would like to welcome Magdalena. She provides some backup support today. So please write your questions in the chat to me or to her if you have some technical questions. And yeah, at this point, let me pin our first speaker, Alexey Trefilov from ELMA. Okay, so Alexey will tell us today how your own team can automate business process without coding, and he represents the company ELMA Global. And so Alexey, stage is yours.
Good evening, colleagues. Could you hear me well? Nowadays, in order to be competitive, business has to have strong IT and high level of automation. And it's not only the rule of the market, but the basement to survive with market changes. 2020 showed us that changes could be crucial for many businesses. But in 2021, every company would like to hire developers to create business applications. Application development is still slow, expensive, and risky, but there is a solution. And today I will tell about the approach and what is the most important. I would like to share some examples of digital transformation run by city developers and analysts using local tools from our portfolio. Once again, my name is Alexey Trefilov, CEO of ELMA 365, and within the last 13 years, we helped other companies to work more productive. We developed a low-code platform that disrupts the whole application development process. And ELMA is a simple but very powerful constructor, and today I would like to share our experience, how analysts and business users could participate in the process of business application creation. As I said above, As I said above, we started 13 years ago with the first generation of ELMA. There were no such a word, even low code, but we knew about the need to give analysts and business users an opportunity to develop their services by themselves. And last years, the need in digital transformation became real trend. Let's figure out how low code could help to fit that demand, in fact. The typical map of product development could look like that. So 5 stages. A company could generate vast amount of ideas. We even we even could document them pretty well, but there is always some bottleneck. IT department with some really limited amount of developers. That's why, as a result, we have very limited amount of deployed applications as well. And due to huge release dates, we release outdated solutions. Sometimes there is no clients for such solutions when they are deployed finally. Using low-code transforms the development process to something like this. So we remove the bottleneck, and since our business users and analysts could create solutions by themselves, they could produce more such kind of solutions. We could create prototypes very fast, and since that moment we could test our ideas. Some bad ideas, for example, wouldn't take our resources anymore, since we could understand that idea is poor and the very beginning of the development path. And this is really crucial. At the same time, we could try to work with the solution from the beginning. So we could polish and master in order to improve UI UX. So we could understand how to build some better kind of solutions. In fact, we also speed up the whole process. Sometimes people try to argue with me, like people from business don't want to develop at all. But I could ask you a question. Do you use Excel, for example? I mean, Microsoft Excel. I suppose you do, because everybody uses it, because it's so easy to use it, and it's way easier to calculate something by yourself than ask anybody. So it's all the matter of simplicity and UI UX, in fact. And low-code tools are the pure game changers. There's example, for example, of ELMA 365, and they provide users with very simple drag and drop interfaces. So you could build enterprise level solutions without any coding skills. So let's try to figure out what is the difference between them. So no-code solutions are just using ultimate idea to build applications without line of code at all. So with low-code tools, you could use some coding, but usually it's not so necessary. It's really about low amounts of code. So let's overview some examples of no-code tools. The brilliant example here is Bubble. You could create huge applications with drag and drop idea. You could create solution from ready-to-use bricks, design interfaces like that, build workflows, and even some integration issues could be solved using a ready-to-use plugins library, and it's really vast, in fact. And if you suppose that it's worth only for simple applications, there is an example from developer website. You could create applications like Instagram, Facebook, or Ticketmaster, like, of course, apps using Bubble. So another great example of no-code tool is Enablement. It allows you to solve integration issues with such amazing interfaces, like a game, really just drag and drop. And I enjoyed when I made research of that. And in fact, there are plenty of no-code tools nowadays for any purpose. So please free to check such products. I hope my presentation will be available after the conference. So without line of code, you could build applications, websites, and even build AI and machine learning based solutions and bots. So there are plenty of advantages here. So you could increase development speed vastly. And this kind of application has a very low entry threshold. It's easy to integrate them with each other. And usually they work in different environments as a desktop solution, as mobile solution. And usually they are pretty cheap. I mean, really low costed. Sometimes they're even free. So it makes them amazing tool for startups and fast hypothesis testing. But they have some list of disadvantages. Being really simple tool, they of course are really limited in their features, and vendors are not interested in developing their solution in such direction. So sometimes it's quite hard to integrate them with something not standalone, which is not supported by vendor. And at the same time, security officers usually are not really welcome to such kind of tools, because they have huge security policies. I mean, huge weaknesses. Just to illustrate my words, there are some list of real examples. Some of these solutions are really slow. I mean, interfaces are really slow, and you can high-load them in order to use in really huge enterprises. So solution here is using low-code. So it's some kind of ultimate solution combining convenience of no-code. So you could still build any solution without line of code, but at the same time, you could adopt your solution, strengthen it with your developers, and you will receive anything in it. So in ELMA 365, we use the following approach. So we divide the whole team into two parts, and one part is like city developers who are no coders, consist of business analysts, business users, etc. They usually just drag and drop using software as Lego with building solution from ready-to-use bricks. And another part is coders, and on some projects we don't need no one at all, but it could consist of, for example, clients, developers, etc. And usually they receive requests just to create some brick that didn't exist before. For example, some integration with legacy system or something like that. So low code gives here a vast amount of opportunities. So we could integrate with anything we want. We could develop new features for our product, and at the same time, it's like speed up development in all directions. So, and at the same time, you could still use software as no-code tool. And usually these kind of solutions, as ELMA 365 and other solutions, are really welcome to security officers who control data leaks and such kind of things. So it's usually way easier. So as summary, low-code for business and IT is the huge game changer. So you could build more solution because it's just faster. At the same time, you could filter some inappropriate ideas, because at the very beginning, you could understand that idea is poor and you don't need to develop it. You could be more creative, create more solutions, understand more insight, get more insights based on your prototypes, etc., and generate even more ideas. So it's just ultimate thing, and nowadays everyone should be part of this game. Just right now, I would like to share some key studies from different fields where our clients' staff, I mean city developers from our clients' side, and our city developers digitalized different businesses from different industries. Just as a first example, I would like to show you a really huge bank of Azerbaijan. It's the hugest one, more than 140 years of history, and they had some really huge amount of legacy systems already, but they were ready for digital transformation, and they needed the simple tool for their analysts. And as POC, we ran the project of issuing a debit card. It took a little bit more than 1 month. In fact, most amount of time was spent on some bureaucracy things, on some security issues, etc., and just for employees from both sides run the solution. And within next weeks, we run more solutions, just for example, issuing credit cards within 1 week, loan services within 2 weeks, etc. It's just incredible, incredible periods in terms of typical development, because it's a huge bank with more than 100 years of history, but low-code tools allows to do that, because this is analyst-driven transformation, not developers-driven, and we understand how to fix and polish and master our processes on the fly. So right now we have more than 200 business processes from front office and back office from very different fields. And this is an example how really huge business could rely on local tools in order to become better, to become up to date in modern conditions. And in fact, as low code is very simple for analysts, they could use it not only to automate, but also to master their processes, because they could measure everything and try to polish solution, trying to release more and more versions of the same application in order to become better and better. So you could see that even within a few months, we could speed up their business processes many times. Another example is a way tinier bank with a very little amount of powers for IT. They used ELMA solution in order to digitalize their main business processes, but their own IT department was extremely limited. So, but at the same time, very hungry for changes, and we could speed up the process in many times. And right now, they even received an award from Mark's Web as the best bank in the market by the price of operation for opening market in CIS countries. So I like the quote from success story that we posted on our website, that what required thousands of employees in some huge bank could be done by several dozens in our bank. It's all about passion of city developers, analysts, and business users, combining with real simple tools as low code. Two more examples. One case we implemented for audit company from Big Four. Of course, this is another huge enterprise, and they had to automate contracts management. It was bilingual documents with a huge amount of pages and more than 200 templates for whole CIS countries. I mean, it's about 15 if I'm not mistaken. And it's also not the task for developers. It was a task for analysts who marked all the documents, and we once created a solution that helped them to create that automatic templates that could be generated on the fly, and even agreement process could be created on the fly, depending from all changes made by any side of the process. And the final example is growing business from healthcare holding. There are more than 35 private clinics, more than 1,500 employees. While they were small, their IT was enough for their needs, but since they start growing, they found that they lose mobility of their business, and they can't open more and more offices, more and more hospitals, and so very small project team consists of only 2 employees. I mean, only 1 developer and 1 city developer. Within a very short period of time, automated huge amount of business processes and return possibility to control their business. Just there were some examples that you could find on our website, elma365.com. You could just dig into that examples in order to maybe to understand how to use local tools in order to master your business. And just for our guests, right now we could offer you to just to try software by yourself in order to create some solutions that I hope I inspired you. thanks for your attention. It seems I have lack of time. Yes.
Alexey, thank you a lot for the insights, and your use cases are really fascinating. I guess for the bank to increase something by 3 or 4 times, that's tremendous. Let me come now to the questions in the chat. We have 4 questions, and I would say, maybe we'll start with Melanie. Actually, Melanie, if you would like to unmute yourself and ask questions, you can do that. Otherwise, I just announce your question to Alexey.
Hi. I am currently unable to activate my camera, but I hope you can hear me.
Yes, of course.
Great. So my question, I think both of my questions go along the same lines. One is like, what's the advantage of ELMA 365 over other low-code platforms? So you said it's like business heavy, and the examples that you showed, I thought were very privacy and very data safety heavy. So is that like your specialization, and like how do you cater to that special need of extra security?
Yes, but at the same time, ELMA 365 is a very comprehensive solution. We have like built-in CRM system, BPMS system, robotics, artificial intelligence. So you don't need to integrate huge amount of solutions in order to create really comprehensive applications. And at the same time, we were always concentrated on the speed of implementation, trying to make the path as short as possible. Thanks.
Melanie, thanks a lot. You have like 1 minute. So Alexey, maybe you'd like to select 1 question from Florian in the chat. The first one is a question about data loading generalization. How to generalize data loading for very niche database and software as a service, like a 90s ERP system, and which arguments you have to sell local platform to development teams and business teams, and how you manage expectation of both departments. Because you have time to answer at least 1 question, and then we proceed.
First question about working with different databases. It depends from the case, because IT infrastructure could differ much from business to business, and we use different connectors. Usually we use API if it's possible to connect, or connect database directly, but at the same time sometimes it's just not possible to connect to some really legacy databases. So that's why we use RPA, which is built in our software in order to get data from anywhere at all. About arguments towards companies to sell low-code platform to dev teams, I really believe that we should show them that it's not something that could frighten them. It's the tool that could help them to develop faster. And in fact, a workshop and some kind of such activities usually could help them to understand well how to use such kind of approaches in order to make their work better.
Okay, Alexey, thank you a lot for the answers. And now I'd like to give now I'd like you to stop sharing your screen, and I am in.
Yes, of course.
And I would like to invite Luca and Milisenda to the stage.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, and I will pin you. Okay.
Wonderful.
So
yeah,
the stage is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon from Berlin, everybody. My name is Luca Milisenda. Can you already see my screen? Give me a second.
Not yet.
But now.
Yes.
Yes, cool. So yeah, happy to be on stage. Good afternoon from Berlin. My name is Luca Milisenda. I'm part of SAP's product enablement and communications team in the area of low-code, no-code, and yeah, very happy to introduce you to our approach on low-code, no-code, and introduce you to our portfolio and our products. So I actually like to start with giving you an understanding why low-code, no-code is actually important for us and our customers, right? And afterwards, I'd like to give you an understanding on, okay, what we offer in the area of low-code, no-code, and actually two different areas that would be on the one hand side, automation, and on the other hand side, low-code, no-code in the area of application development. So when we talk to our customers, and our customers have actually a lot of challenges they are facing on a daily basis, they actually have three major challenges that actually contributed to the rise of low-code, no-code. So nowadays, we see that businesses are forced to adapt quicker and quicker to the changing customer requirements, right? And with that, also the underlying IT infrastructure has to adapt in the same speed, ideally a little bit faster to be ahead of the competition and of the market. And for example, in the pandemic, and Alexey already talked about that, there was actually in this case a increasing demand for cloud transformation, and we know from Gartner that 59% of enterprises expected cloud use to exceed plans due to COVID-19, right? And so there is actually an increasing need for transformation, but at the same time, and that's actually the number one challenge of our customer, is that they don't have enough resources to actually drive these transformation projects. And we all know that in a lot of companies, the IT is constantly overloaded and there is a lack of professional developers. At the same time, and this is also something we see at our customers, IT landscapes get more and more complex. So if you have more applications, you have to maintain more of them. And we know that large companies maintain 129 different applications on average, with a total number increasing by 68% since 2015. And this is also something IT has to take care of. So to tackle these challenges, actually, we think that we have to make technology more accessible for a much broader range of individuals, and low-code, no-code, and citizen development is the answer to that. So for years, our main business was actually to improve the life of the professional developer, right? So deliver software to them. So a developer who is working in an IT department, who is building software with code. But we think it makes a lot of sense to make it also possible for people outside the IT to build software, to build processes, automate processes, build application, extend them. And the person everybody's looking at is here the citizen developer. So who's this person? The citizen developer is actually a business expert in a line of business without IT background, but having a certain degree of tech savviness, right? And at the same time, they are actually more familiar with applications, processes in their departments. So they have a much better business context than people in the IT. And we actually assume that almost 1/3 of a company's workforce can actually be citizen developer. And it's actually pretty clear that this person will never be productive in a professional development environment. And that's why we as software providers have to deliver simple enough tooling, simple enough low-code, no-code tooling to actually also enable them to build software and to actually unleash this in a hidden workforce in companies. And that would also mean that, so if we make it more, technology more accessible for more people, that the professional developer in the IT can actually focus on more complex IT projects. So we already heard that there is an increasing demand for low-code, no-code. We know, for example, that by 2025, over 50% of mid-size to large enterprises will have adopted a platform for low-code application development as one of their strategic application platforms. And we also know that 70% of new applications developed by enterprises will use low-code or no-code technologies. So how are we as SAP approaching this, right? So as said, we actually focused on two different areas where we provide our customers low-code, no-code tooling. This is on the one hand side, application composition, where we allow our customers to build and extend applications with SAP AppGyver and SAP Business Application Studio. And on the other hand side, it is in the area of automation, and that would be SAP Process Automation. So these three products we actually just launched last week. And you already see here in the slide that we are not only delivering software. Oh, that was too fast. So we're not only delivering software for the citizen developer, but also for the professional developer. So we're actually aiming to create a unified developer experience that allows every developer, no matter the skill level, to build applications and build processes fast and efficient. So also the professional developer is willing to use low-code, no-code technologies. So we know from studies that 51% of professional developers already using low-code, no-code technologies. That's why we also have to deliver software for them. So let me start with automation. So here we actually have SAP Process Automation, and that's actually an offering what will be available in Q1 next year. And it's actually an evolution of two strong capabilities we already have. That's on the one hand side, SAP Workflow Management and SAP Intelligent Robotic Process Automation. So in the area of workflow management, we're bringing, for example, capabilities for process visibility to allow you to monitor your workflows in your projects. We have business rules to create processes based on certain policies. And this is now embedded with RPA capabilities, allowing you to automate your repetitive task with bots, right? And this is now embedded with workflows in one experience. This is actually what is SAP Process Automation delivering. And we actually elevate this. We make this accessible for the citizen developer. So this is actually a citizen automation user experience and no-code citizen automation user experience. And one very important aspect here is that you're not only, when it comes to accelerating development with low-code, no-code, you're not only providing tools, but you also provide reusable content. So pre-built content that allows you to actually use pre-built bots, pre-built workflow components, pre-built process steps that you can actually use as a citizen developer as a starting point in your project, in your process automation initiatives. And that's a key aspect of our offering. Another aspect here is that we actually integrated with our tools for process mining and experience management. So we have in the area of process mining, Signavio, and in the area of experience management, it would be Qualtrics. We integrate that to really allow the citizen developer to identify process improvement opportunities and allowing them to drive a process automation journey, end-to-end journey from insights to action to actually make smart business decisions, right? So SAP Process Automation really being a citizen automation user experience. How about application composition? And as said, here we're actually providing two tools. This is on the one hand side, SAP AppGyver. And SAP AppGyver is a tool, and we already saw some of the tools earlier, is a no-code application development environment. So that means that you actually can build pixel perfect apps without code, just from scratch. So there was actually a drag and drop, what you see here on the slide, a drag and drop user interface. So you can actually build without technical knowledge app blocks, and you can also customize them, right? So these applications can, for example, be standalone, they can be extensions, and they can be for mobile and for web. We will later see an example for our customers, how they actually create an application with SAP AppDriver, mobile application. And so we launched SAP AppDriver last week, and it also already is used by 100,000 citizen developers, so non-technical users building applications with SAP AppDriver. Back to our visual here. So SAP AppDriver no-code solution for citizen developers. As already said, we heard from customers that also the professional developers, so developers sitting in IT, for example, they also want to be, of course, they always want to be more productive and more efficient, working more efficiently. And they also want to leverage low-code, no-code in their daily work. And for this, we actually did the following. So SAP Business Application Studio used to be a purely pro-code development tool. So more than 2,000 customers used them in the past for pro-code application development. And what we did now is we added a low-code development perspective to it. So we have, for example, we added a template-based UI environment and a visual editor that allows you to actually create full-stack SAP applications with minimal coding efforts. You have a certain degree of coding, but it's really accelerating your productivity with a lower coding effort. So the interesting thing here is SAP Business Application Studio allows you to not only work in a low-code development environment, but also as a professional developer, I can fall back in my familiar professional experience. So can actually choose between two different experiences in SAP Business Application Studio. And what is also interesting is you can also see that also the citizen developer can potentially use SAP Business Application Studio. And the interesting thing here is they could potentially hand over projects, since they're working in the same environment like the professional developer. They can hand over projects and can actually collaborate with the IT departments to have a more efficient collaboration, right? And this is pretty exciting here. And we are often asked, okay, what kind of applications can you build with SAP AppDriver and SAP Business Application Studio? And here you can say that you can actually extend SAP systems with SAP technology in SAP Business Application Studio, such as like SAP technologies such as Fiori. It is supporting Fiori, for example, UI5 or HANA. And SAP AppDriver would be something you could use for customer-facing applications. And this is something I like to show you in one customer example. So one of our customers, DHL, they actually used SAP AppDriver to develop an application for their fleet management. So actually, they needed an easy-to-use applications to better manage their damage reports for its trailer fleet across Europe. And they developed a mobile app and a web app allowing the drivers on track to submit real-time reports on fleet and trailer damage. So the drivers can, with that app, can actually capture an image of the damage, upload it in real time to the application, and add like information such locations, descriptions, and details using their mobile devices. And this process has been manual in the past. So they actually called their management to explain the damage, and now it's working with an application. And the interesting thing is this application was built outside the IT from a smart group of citizen developers, and it went live after a few weeks. You can actually already try both of the tools. So feel free to scan the QR codes we have here. You can use the community edition of SAP AppDriver, and you can also use SAP Business Application Studio, the free tier on our SAP Business Technology platform. So please, if you're interested, you can now scan the QR code. And I'd like, in the end of my presentation, I'd like to invite you to actually an exciting learning opportunity. We launched last week a citizen developer learning journey. That's actually a learning course for everyone who is excited to learn how to develop in a low-code, no-code manner, right? And it it's actually pretty short, like only a few hours, but this is already enough to, in the end, being able to automate simple processes, but also build your first application with SAP AppGyver, similar to DHL, to the DHL example we just saw. So I can really encourage you to try this out, but you can also, of course, learn more on our website, sap.com/lowcode, and you can also, to keep yourself posted, check out our SAP community and the tag low-code, no-code. And you can also, of course, reach out via my personal email address to learn more on our low-code, no-code portfolio. And now I would say, let's go to Q&A.
In the meantime, Luca, I would like to ask you if you have a link to the EdTech or to this digital journey, please write it also in the chat.
Absolutely.
And I have a question that came to my private message here. So let me read it. A question to Luca. Is there a connection between SAP AppGyver or SAP App Studio to S4/HANA, including business objects? I guess quite technical question.
To my knowledge, yes. So this is really something you can connect with, like the SAP technology you normally use. So this is also the difference to SAP AppGyver. So SAP Business Application Studio would use for such a use case, for example. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And in the meantime, if you have other questions, you could raise your hand, and I will unmute you. Oh.
Yeah, you could also we can also discuss this later. If I don't know if we're already out of time, but in the breakout session, of course.
Yeah, I guess it's
via follow-up email, of course.
Yeah, and also don't forget to if you have any connection requests, please also talk to SIBB team. We will be happy to connect you. And before we start, actually, thank you a lot. I guess we start now with the next presentation. As I also see the questions in the chat. If you would like, you could answer that person, or we connect you in the breakout room later on. Yes. I would also like to remind everyone that you could also add your actually LinkedIn accounts to the chat and connect to each other, because that's also one of the goals of our events, that people connect. So please write your LinkedIn in the chat if you would like to increase your business network. Okay. Also, Luca, could you please stop sharing the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thinkwise is on board. Great.
Can you see my presentation?
Yes, I could see that.
Beautiful.
Okay. So let's welcome Art van Szczepaniak from Netherlands, talking about Thinkwise.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me just first start by just introducing myself. I'm Art van Szczepaniak, working at Thinkwise. Thinkwise is a relatively new low-code platform, and also would like to thank the previous speakers, especially the introduction from our previous speaker from SAP was very interesting, and very interesting landscape that's going on right now. It's a big shortage of developers, and in my presentation I'm going to cover some of that as well. I'm not going to tell you a technical story, but basically an overview about what Thinkwise is in general and what problem we are trying to solve. About myself, I'm in the business for more than 35 years, and I call myself a low-code veteran. Been working with many low-code platforms, not only platforms that are in the market today, but also platforms that were in the market, let's say 30 years ago, because we also had low-code platforms at that moment in time, only we didn't call them low-code platforms. We called them fourth-generation development languages, or we called them rapid application development environments, all these kind of stuff. And here's a list of companies I worked for or tools that I worked with, so you have a bit of an interest, or you have a bit of an insight in the things I did in the past. Let's just cover a little bit about Thinkwise. And before I do that, I would like to actually tell you about our big, hairy, audacious goal. Big, hairy, audacious goal is something that a company adopts to actually describe the vision of the company. And our big, hairy, audacious goal is free the world of legacy software by 2030. And why is it important? I mean, legacy software is perhaps one big thing that is enabling companies to not actually, pursue their vision, and preventing companies for actually not reaching the productivity levels that they actually need. A previous speaker also spoke about the how to solve the big shortage of developers in the marketplace. One way to look at it is, of course, to work with low-code tools and no-code tools. And the no-code is a real fantastic solution. I used to work for a company called Betty Blocks, which was actually one of the leaders in the no-code environment. Also a company from the Netherlands. And no-code is a very interesting thing, but no-code is something that, of course, has limitations if you talk about real large business-critical applications. Thinkwise is a company that is actually solving that issue in the area of real core business applications. Let's first talk about why that shortage of developers is such a big thing. Just 3 examples of companies over here that were able to actually use not software for building applications, but were usually really using software development as a business model. A very good example is Netflix, and everybody is familiar with Netflix. Netflix is actually not a video company. And well, it's a bit of it's producing videos as well, it's producing films as well. But the core thing about Netflix is it's a software company. They're using software to actually, run their business model. It's a completely virtual company. They don't have any offices. It's completely online. Everything is basically software. Same is for Uber and for many other examples as well. And those are just 3 examples of companies who are very visible. But I'm sure that you will see actually the phenomena of digital transformation in your business every day. And the whole thing is, if you really want to, deliver on that digital transformation promise, you'll basically find out that there is one thing which is stopping you, especially when you're working at a large company and you have many applications out there. We saw the previous speaker speaking about 129 applications in an average size company. Now, there's a lot of legacy software out there. And the issue with legacy software is it's actually costing you time, resources, and people and developers to actually deal with those legacy applications. Legacy applications are often also, older technologies. So it's even very difficult to find the right level of developers. So there's many, many issues out there. And not even talking about, the many projects that have, been taken in the past to actually deal with that legacy software. Another thing is, in certain companies, 80% of the IT budget is allocated to the maintenance of legacy applications. Now, then, of course, we come to the whole thing here, where and why is Thinkwise a different company? We are a company that is helping people to get rid of their legacy software. So we are a low-code tool that is specialized and focused on helping people to take that legacy applications out and completely modernize them into an environment where applications will never become legacy again. Now, for the people who are really interested to hear more about it, I just want to actually point you out to our latest, campaign on the internet. Go to our website, you see our guarantee campaign. In that guarantee campaign, which is a marketing campaign, we actually promise people that we guarantee that we can replace their legacy software within 12 months. Of course, there are certain limitations to the application. Maximum size, and of course some conditions around the how we actually run the projects in terms of the development methodology. We have our own development methodology as well. But basically, we are the first company out there that can promise and guarantee any company out there that we can take a legacy software application and completely replace it within a year. Now, let's take a little bit of a look at the tool. And basically created this diagram to give you kind of an overview about what the Thinkwise rule is doing. It's a couple of things which are, I think, very brand new for people. So I'll just take it very, step by step, and don't want to be too technical, just to give you kind of an insight. First place, the Thinkwise tool is a total solution. So it includes testing tools. It includes the tools that you need for, describing your business processes, for creating your requirements, for actually doing your design. On the application model level itself, you have data model, you have GUI models, there's business intelligence in there, processing model, which is important if you want to model this in a visual way. And like I said already, test cases as well. So completely integrated development environment. So the whole idea is that when people are working with Thinkwise, you don't need other development tools anymore to actually develop your application. So you don't need additional testing tools. You don't need version control tools. Everything is just included in one platform. The second special thing about the Thinkwise environment is that Thinkwise doesn't have, or with Thinkwise, it's not necessary anymore to create individual components. Thinkwise is a large, let's say, business model. And based on the business model, the application will be automatically generated every time that you start the application. All these individual forms and reports that you normally would have to program by hand manually, that's what you still have to do with the traditional low-code and no-code tools. You still have to program all those individual forms by hand. With Thinkwise, that is not the case. With Thinkwise, the whole application level itself is generated, is built out of the model. It's a very interesting way of doing it because you can already imagine what it means for the productivity. If you only can concentrate on the application model, you don't have to build all those things anymore. It means that your productivity is extremely high, but also that the maintenance of an application becomes obviously a very easy task, or a very task that you can do at least very fast. Now, of course, I immediately tell people, listen, that also has a downside, because the user interface of a Thinkwise application it's not standardized. You can actually create a very nice user interface, but it's not if you just want to build a very pixel perfect small application like the DHL application we saw before, actually great looking, then Thinkwise is probably not the best tool for you. So Thinkwise is really a tool which is focused on building a business critical application very, very, very fast. Now, what's more to say about that? There's one thing that I definitely want to mention. If you go back in the old days, and when you were talking, let's say, with the local platforms of years past, all these tools came in with their own built-in languages. Like Uniface had an own development language, Progress had an own development language, Oracle had an own development language. And of course, that is an issue because a proprietary language is something where you need to have knowledge about. And if you don't have that knowledge available enough in the marketplace, it becomes difficult to maintain your applications. Thinkwise doesn't have a proprietary language. Thinkwise works with standard languages out there, like Java, like .NET, like SQL. So that means that even your own developers who are familiar to work with those traditional languages right now can very easily step in to the Thinkwise environment. But also it means that it becomes easier also in the future to keep on maintaining your application. Then you're telling me, of course, well, of course, if I don't have to build all those individual components anymore, what do I need? So why do I still need to code? Well, you still need to create your business rules, and your business rules are, created into the model and in a basically trigger event-driven method are actually executed on the application level. One more thing that I want to mention over here, and that is about, let's say, one facility that I haven't really mentioned yet, and that is what we call the Thinkwise Upcycler. Now, the Upcycler is a piece of technology that you actually use, and you see that over here. You see that facility over here in the left above corner. The Upcycler is a set of technologies that we use to scan and actually load the contents, the models of a legacy application. We have several upcyclers available for a variation of technologies. Think about the technologies for Uniface, for Progress, for Oracle, for just simple Microsoft SQL applications, for Excel spreadsheets. There's a whole set of upcyclers. What we basically do, we scan the contents of an existing legacy application and load that as input for a new Thinkwise application. So it means, and that's a little bit depending on the technology that you're upcycling, it means that the more advanced an environment is that we can actually load, the more actually information you will get into your new Thinkwise application immediately without actually having it to create it manually. So it's a great technology for reusing as much as possible from an existing legacy application as possible. And it really helps people to speed up the development of their new application in Thinkwise. Now, what else is there to say about the Thinkwise platform? We're using as much open technologies as possible. So that means on the database level, we work with the familiar databases, Oracle, DB2, Microsoft SQL Server. You can actually deploy a Thinkwise application on-premise if you want, but also, of course, in the cloud. And we're using the usual cloud vendors like Azure, like Microsoft Azure and Amazon for that one. You can actually work with development languages of your choice. There's a couple of examples over here. The most used development language in Thinkwise is SQL, because it works very well with most of the databases out there, and it creates generally best performance. But if you want, you can also introduce Java or .NET in your Thinkwise development of business rules. But it's a little bit depending on the platform that you're working with. Now, of course, we can say that we're a great company, and we are a great company. But of course, it's even better if other people are saying this about you. We're part of the Forrester Wave, and the Forrester Wave is one of the leading, let's say, analyst platforms out there. And there we're chosen as one of the 13 best local platforms in the world. I have to say is that the remark that Forrester is making over here is that we are really the only local platform which is really used in high-end core business applications. Just browsing a little bit. Okay, here you see a couple of users of the Thinkwise platform. A couple of the most of them are larger companies. From a business perspective, we are a Dutch company. We're based actually in the Netherlands. We were founded in 2002, but the platform itself is just released just a couple of years. Before that, Thinkwise was a company that was acting as a system integrator. System integrator who did many projects, and we were using the Thinkwise tool at that moment in time as an enabler for the project. But decided our mission a couple of years ago and actually transform ourselves from a system integrator into a low-code platform vendor. So far, we've been doing very good. We are present with customers now in 32 countries, over 5 continents, headquartered in the Netherlands. Because of COVID, our international expansion is not where we hoped that it would have been a couple of years ago. We really hoped that we would have now, for instance, an office in Germany, which is definitely in the pipeline. Germany is probably the first country where we're going to expand abroad. But we have customers and partners in 5 continents of the world, and so from an international expansion, we are already going very fast. And the interesting point to say, of course, one of the things that one of the reasons why we are so successful internationally is that we are a company which is where the whole facility itself, the tool itself, is already suited for a multilingual approach. The product comes available with about 7 languages available out of the box standard as a standard. What else is there to say? More than 150 people, and one of the fastest growing local platforms at this moment in time in the world. One more thing, the key takeaways for today before I open the forum for questions. So with Thinkwise is I'm saying that specifically to company, to customers and to prospects immediately right out of the box. It's not a local platform that you will use for every application. It's a local platform which is really suitable for high-end business application. If you just would like to build a quick low-code or no-code based application that is just an application on top of, let's say, an existing legacy environment, then probably Thinkwise is not the right solution for you. If you, however, are looking at a large project, a large application that needs to be replaced, legacy application that is really a pain, if you would like to replace it, then probably Thinkwise is the better solution for you. So we definitely not a no-code tool. No-code was very interesting, but that's not our market. We are a high-end low-code development tool. At this moment in time, I would like to say just you open the platform for some questions. And
thank you a lot for the presentation. I really like the insight about the maintenance. 80% is about maintenance, and it's great. We talk a lot here about like startups, new businesses, but what's more important is how to maintain everything we have developed.
Yes,
I would like to take the advantage of being a moderator and ask you the first question, because you mentioned in how many languages you work, and I just really curious, how is there any specifics connected to localizations of local platforms?
Is that localization in terms of spoken languages?
spoken languages also maybe
Okay.
backend of the platforms. Yeah.
I hope
what's about localization of the local platforms? Is it difficult? Is it possible? Also maybe work with companies that require that you provide it in several languages?
No, the most important thing is, and I'm hoping I'm answering the question in the right way, but the key technology that you support when you're actually deploying an application platform like this in an international fashion is that there's a standard for that, and that standard is called Unicode. And Unicode is basically a facility, if I explain it very simple, is a facility in your tool that enables you to use all character sets which are out there in the world. So Thinkwise is fully Unicode enabled, and that means, for instance, that even languages like Japanese and Chinese are supported. So that means that a developer in Japan can build a Japanese application with Thinkwise, so completely 100% in Japanese, both from, let's say, how the application looks, but also how what kind of data that they can enter and manipulate in the application. And I'm hoping I'm actually providing the correct answer for
that. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, let's switch to the question from Melanie Rodo. What does a typical customer story with Thinkwise look like? You offer consulting, almost the documentation with which customers enable users and developers themselves.
Let me just, what does a typical customer story with Thinkwise look like? The typical customer story is that when an application is really, out of date completely and costing an enormous amount of money for customers to maintain, and it really becomes a business issue because, there are two types of legacy. You have functional legacy and technology legacy. Functional legacy means the application is not doing what it's supposed to do, what it's supposed was to do 20 years ago. Technical legacy is my application is running on a platform like AS400, for instance, which is slowly getting out of business. That means that they have to do something, and people have a tendency, companies have a tendency of actually, waiting until the last moment before actually acting. So typical user story is a company comes to us and say, hey, we need to get rid of this legacy application. We need to get something new. It's a huge application. Talk about 10,000 for function points, which is a lot. Can you help us? And that's often, the customer story of Thinkwise. And so we've done it multiple times. There are many projects that we've done in this way. So that's typically where it fits. Do you offer consulting? Yes and no. We do consulting partly, but we like to rely mostly on our partner channel. We have a whole set of partners. If you go to our website, you see that the quite a large number of partners, even in Germany as well. At this moment in time, we have a couple of partners. So our go-to-market model, which is a very good question, by the way. Our go-to-market model is that mostly we would like to enable partners to do the projects with us or independently. I think we're out of.
I think it was a good answer to a good question, and also now 7:10, so 17:10. So I guess we could proceed our last speaker for today. So thank you a lot for the presentation, and
you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
This your screen sharing. Okay, let me just find the many speakers. Okay, Sebastian, I have found you. I continue. Okay, so let me introduce Sebastian Szczepaniak, Head of Customer Success and Implementation in Synerise from Krakow, Poland. So Sebastian, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much for this introduction. Hello, everyone. I would like to congratulate and thank all of my fellow colleagues that were running the presentations today. And I hope that you have been introduced, or if you already were introduced before to the world of no-code and low-code, you are fitting better into this environment thanks to those presentations and deep explanations of what the low-code and no-code actually is. As stated before, my name is Sebastian Szczepaniak. I'm from Synerise company, which originated in Poland. And today I'm here to give you a little glimpse of what you can achieve and how you can achieve actually the AI solutions without coding, thanks to the low-code or no-code platforms. And before I will dig deeper into the platform, the Synerise platform itself, I would like to give you a little example of what Synerise is all about, actually. As you may know, Synerise is an all-in-one, ever-evolving data platform, which means that we are a big data. We are a big data organization. We are a big data platform, and we are providing the enhanced by AI ever-evolving platform, which means that this platform is something that is extending all the time, thanks to our users, thanks to our customers, with which we are providing the personalized experience for their end users. So you can think of us as a CDP platform, for example, when you can execute, gather all the data in one place as all-in-one platform, which means that you can track all the actions of your customers in each data point, in each channel, such as websites, such as mobile applications, such as offline stores. Then you can process this data with Synerise in form of events. Then you can analyze each step of their funnel, each step of their activity, and based on that, you can create various kinds of reporting and segmentations. And what is more, the most important, you can actually use this data in terms of execution. So in Synerise, you will find various products as stated as modules, and the module which is the most interesting for us today is the automation module, when you can actually achieve various solutions using no-code or low-code approach based on your choice. And today I would like to give you simple inspiration about one particular use case, which I hope will open up the imagination of each of you being here on this webinar. And you will discover that actually the limit is your imagination, because all that you want to do, actually you can do using Synerise interface, using Synerise modules, in terms of data tracking, in terms of activity tracking, in terms of processing the data, reporting, and the execution. So since it's all about acting with data, I really hope that you will enjoy this presentation as far as I am enjoying it, and we can dig deeper into the platform itself. And why I would like you to give the powerful tool to solve various problems using AI, because AI is one of the keys for us as a company. And during this year, we are proud to say that we have won various AI competitions, including the OGB, which means the Open Graph Network Challenge, stated by Stanford, and also, as you can see, various others, which I encourage you to dig deeper on our website. And when you will enter the Synerise.com, you will find this beautiful button, which will allow you to log into our platform. You can request the demo, and feel free to access and play with the platform, play with the data that we have in there for the demo purpose. And if you would like to go further, feel free to reach me, as I am the head of customer success and implementation team. We will guide you further with the product itself. But enough about the product. Let's go to the automation module and see how this is already actually working. Because as I said, it's all about acting. It's all about teamwork. And since I have seen the questions about those dilemmas about whether we should give our developers the tools which will allow them to go provides solutions with a low-code approach. Is it okay to give such solutions for developers or not? Definitely yes, because this is something which you can give to developer so he could understand the business better. And on the other hand, giving the business team, business unit, the low-code, no-code approach is something great when they can actually play with the data, they can actually play with the solution, and so they could understand their customers better. And in those simple steps, I would like to show you how actually the business unit, the business team can achieve the results which few years ago would require a bunch of developers, a team of developers, in order to create a solution. But thanks to platforms such as Synerise and others which were mentioned today, business teams can create the solutions for themselves by themselves, with which actually saves time, saves saves time and saves the resources that are needed in order to go to market. And it's easier for testing, it's easier for playing with the solution. And having our canvas in here in automation module, I would like to give you a simple example of a really powerful use case which you can create in those 4 steps that you see here. So imagine the situation when we are cooperating with a retail brand, for example, who is intended to create the self-service stores when only one person can enter. And in order to enter to this store, you need to authorize yourself. You need to, let's say, enter your loyalty card number, or you enter your phone number on the PIN pad, and then the doors are opening and you can enter and process with the groceries that you want to buy. And imagine the scenario when we know we can track all those activities, right? So we can track what is going on even on the offline presence. So when I'm authorizing myself, I'm sending the data, at this case, to Synerise in order to trigger some automation process. And at this first point, I'm triggering the automation by authorizing myself. At the second step, this authorization process is triggering the request for the promotion data, which is personalized for me, which is calculated by my activities on all the ecosystem, on your websites, on your transactions on mobile apps, on your transactions on offline. And we calculate all those interactions, all those transactions, all those events, and then we can give you the recommendation for promotion, not only for the product, but also for the promotion, and also for the price that should be given to you based on your activities and based on the, let's say, segments that you are in. And when I'm entering this store, I am roaming around in order to find my products, and I can see, let's say, a TV screen, which screen is integrated with the digital signage network. And imagine the situation: I'm entering the store, I'm authorizing myself, and then on this screen, personalized recommendations for promotions pop-ups, and those promotions are dedicated for me. And the same story goes on my mobile phone. The same promotion is being sent to me in form of communication. And imagine the experience when you can give the same story for your customer on online channels and on offline channels, and you can engage also the IoT infrastructure, such as digital signages, when you can create the content. So let's simulate, since we are here and we can play on Synerise and play with the data. As I said, this is you can think of Synerise also as a form of CDP, customer data platform, when we gather all the data from various data sources, process it in queues, and then we can make use of this data. So imagine that I am entering this store, and I'm authorizing myself, and I will do this in the form of a simple custom event, just to give you the flow, the experience, the example of the experience that you may have, right? So we have these parameters of this event, and let's say this is the promo purpose for this demonstration, and I'm applying this. So based on this action in real time, this action is being synchronized and with all these other data endpoints. And you can see also on the analytics for the automation that we have, me as a client, have gone through all the process. And all this information at first are stored on my behavioral profile, so I can see each step of the automation, and also I can see the information about the promotions that were chosen for me, which were personalized for me. And this 4 simple steps, as a result, have sent this data, pushed this data to digital signage campaign. And since we are talking about the technical part, also I allowed myself to join in here for this webhook site, so you could see the result of this action. This information were sent and stating that we should launch the campaign of promotions for all locations for 2 minutes, and including this sneakers promotion, which I received as a personalization. So this is, let's say, the flow, how this work, and what is needed in order to configure this. As a business user, my purpose is to choose from the interface what suits me the best. So if I want to trigger the automation, I just need to select the triggering event from the drop-down list in here. If I want to get the promotions, I just select the action that I want to do. I want to get the personalized promotions. As a result, these promotions will be sent to my behavioral profile in CRM, in Synerise CRM, and then I can filter the results. I can just accept all the personalized promotions, or I can give another conditions. For example, that I want to wait for 1 minute only for this scenario, and if during 1 minute I will receive these promotions, then I want to push those promotions to the digital signage campaign. And same story as before, I'm choosing that I want to select this digital signage campaign. I'm choosing the type of this campaign, and I'm choosing the location. For example, I choose that this should be done in all locations, which can take the context of the location which the user is in, or I can send this data to another location based on my preferences. And I can have also additional configuration in here, stating some other various examples. And as you can see, I'm just choosing the nodes for the automation from the interface. And also I can implement some logic on this. And since we have stated to wait for 1 minute, then I can choose what should happen after this 1 minute. And this is from the perspective of business user, and this is from the perspective of no-code approach. And you can imagine, and you were asking, what is it good to give those solutions to developers? Yes, it's a good option, as I stated before, because they can, thanks to this, they can understand what the business purpose is, and they can choose to give all the control for business users, or they can define something by themselves. So we also, from the perspective of the interface, have the access to those nodes. And so we can define the endpoints, which means that we can integrate actually with everything which allows the API, REST API requests. We can define the parameters for the interface for our business user. And also we can give some other information for in a JSON format instead in form of dynamic fields, in form of the context of the user, context of the other data stored in other catalogs, and so on. And since we are talking about the interface, as a business user, I'm also able to create my own interface thanks to the schema builder in Synerise. So actually creating also the interface from the perspective of business user is something which is which can be done by just giving them the drag and drop options. And right now I can give you further information, further values to be defined in the interface. So I can play with it on and on as a business user, and I don't need to engage anyone from the tech team. And when I will enter the automation, I can immediately use those contexts, those nodes that I have created, and as you can see, this interface will be different than before because we have right now another fields. And these fields may be used in order to push the data to another channels. So I think that I have reached to the end. And if there are any questions on the chat, I will be happy to reply to them. And I warmly like to invite you to our networking sessions when we can discuss more if you are interested in jumping deeper into the no-code solutions or low-code solutions using Synerise AI modules and functionalities, or just chat about the low-code in general. Thank you very much. I'm passing the screen.
Sebastian, thank you a lot. As in the meantime, I don't see any questions coming up, so I guess people just save them for our breakout sessions. So, is there any question? No. Okay. I would just ask you to write down your maybe LinkedIn into the chat because you asked people to contact you, and I would also encourage all the speakers actually to write your LinkedIn or the way you prefer to be communicated. Before we proceed with breakout rooms, so everyone could see that. And okay, in the meantime, Sebastian, thank you one more time, and I really liked how you went through all the features you have, and I hope it's might kind of be very much interest to our attendants. And right now, I would like to ask everyone to unmute themselves, to turn on your video screens, and let me provide you some short instruction before we proceed with network breakout rooms. So, as I said, for the best user experience, please unmute yourself and yeah, prepare to talk. And I would appreciate if you make a Zoom full screen, so you could see the button with breakout room. I have randomly assigned you to 4 breakout sessions. And right now you will be able to see the invitation to join the room in the middle of the screen. And yeah, please push the button, and I wish you all good luck in the breakout rooms. Okay, sessions have begun. Okay, so I see Sebastian, are you nicht beigetreten? Sebastian, I guess you went AFK for a minute, right? Okay, have you, okay. Oh, perfect. That's perfect. Let it be on tape. I would like to thank everyone for coming today. I have written down a lot of insights about low code and actual state of low code. I hope that next year we'll be able to proceed with the next low code day here in Berlin, and pandemic will likely go away. And yeah, I wish you success, and what's more important, stay healthy. And without that, keep come to our SIBB events. We have a lot coming up. Please check our main page, sibb.de/events. And yeah, without that, thank you for coming. Bye bye.